I'm Brent Cordell, barrel extraordinaire here at Odell Brewing Company in Fort Collins, Colorado, and you're watching the Beer Diaries.
Here we go.
Hey, how's it going?
Good, Adam D'Antonio.
Greg from the Beer Diaries.
Welcome to Odell Brewing Company.
Huge pleasure to be here. You know, surprise, a sunny day in Colorado.
Yep.
Another great day, some great beers.
Yeah, absolutely.
Should we check
Let's
them
head
out?
inside of the tap room.
Awesome, let's go.
Yeah, welcome to Odell Brewing's tap room. This is where we get to service all of our local consumers directly.
T-shirts.
Got a great
Glasses.
variety of merchandise to go through.
Yeah,
and
that's
then
awesome.
Full tap lineup with beyond just our regular bottled beers every day. We've got a bunch of experimental beers that you can come in and try. And these beers generally don't leave Fort Collins, so
Very
we get to
nice.
reward our locals.
How fast do they rotate? Like, are you trying lots of new stuff all the time?
Yeah, we have a 5-barrel pilot system, and we're able to produce about 3 to 4 beers off of the pilot system per week, as long as we stay away from the lagered beers.
Right,
and
right.
then we get them up here as quickly as we can, turn them around in about 1 to 2 weeks, and maybe never to exist again. So you got to be a frequent customer to try them
Yeah,
all.
that's awesome. And another thing you do here that's really great, and again, coming from out of state, I mean, you guys have some pretty good range of distribution, but you don't go all the way to Texas or California as
Not
far as I
yet,
know.
maybe someday.
Someday, but you got bombers of really cool stuff and other bottles. You do growler fills.
We do growler fills, kegs, bottled beer right out the door. Anything you want that we make, you can come right in and buy it directly from us.
Very cool. Does this place get pretty hopping? Like, I mean, it's a big room. Like, this is a big tap room. Is it?
Absolutely. We on a Wednesday afternoon when we have live music, for example, it'll be completely packed in here. Friday and Saturday, standing room only. Hard to find a seat.
And
So
now,
this is our brew house.
where all the beers made with love.
It is. Yeah, so this is our brew house. We've actually had this brew house online for just over 20 years now, and we're finally to the point where we get to replace it with a brand new brew house.
Right, right.
We're working with a 50-barrel brew house and a 100-barrel brew house made by Braucon. It's actually on a boat on its way over here right now.
And it's going to be just right over.
Yep, we'll be knocking out this east wall here, and the new brew house will be coming in hopefully next month.
Very
So,
nice.
Very exciting time for us.
And this one, you're running almost 24/7 on this.
We
Like,
are, yeah. We're running 24/7 right now on this to keep up with our demand, which is a little scary because if anything happens, we get pushed behind constantly.
Yeah,
so
yeah.
with the 100-barrel brew house, we'll be able to reduce some of the man hours that we're working back here and give our brew house staff some time off once in a while. Welcome to our pilot system.
Yeah, no, it's awesome. I mean, so what does it really do for the brewery? What do you use this for?
It's primarily a tool for recipe development. So we want to spend almost a year back here developing a new recipe before it'll ever touch a bottle. So recently, we just brewed a Russian Imperial Stout that'll eventually become our woodcut number 7,
Wow.
which will be released at the end of the year. But it's also just a playground. It's an opportunity for any of our brewers and really any of our staff to come back here and try something new.
That's
Maybe
very
learn
cool.
the brewing process if you're an accountant or in the production line. Whatever you do here, you're welcome to come back and brew.
And a lot of this ends up in the tap room. Like, most of the stuff that works out will all be up there.
Absolutely. So you get to try all kinds of new and different products for sure
Very
if you
cool.
frequent our tap room.
So we enter Loudland.
Yes, it certainly is. As we make our way back to the barrel room, we get to pass our bottling line.
Yeah.
Currently working on our summer seasonal St. Lupulin today.
Cool.
We just literally today are releasing a variety 12-pack called Montage.
Oh, nice.
And this is the new equipment to take care of bottling that.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So it's like custom built to achieve the goal.
It is, yeah. It's been a process getting it in place, and we definitely lost some room here, but it allows us a great outlet to get more of our fun beers into
Right,
the
right.
hands of more consumers.
Well, and
So-
the mix packs probably are pretty good too. Folks can try a variety of beers from the same producer.
Absolutely. We'll have our flagship 90 Shilling and our second flagship, our IPA,
Yeah.
in there year-round. And then we'll have a couple seasonal offerings as well as some new experimental beers that'll
And the
make their way.
seasonal beer right now, it's Loose Leaf.
St. Lupulin is our current
Okay.
seasonal. We actually have a brand new beer,
Oh,
an
okay.
American Session Ale called Loose Leaf that
Oh,
just
okay.
was released this week as well.
Very nice. Cool.
And the best part about making your way to our barrel room is that you have to walk through the hop cooler
Oh, it
first.
smells amazing in here. Like, The hops everywhere, right?
Yeah, we absolutely love our hops. We still love balanced beer at the end, but we want to add a lot of hops to it.
And all this is hops.
Yeah, all hops, all the bales are whole flower hops, and then we also have a bunch of pellet hops.
Wow. And now you enter the room here and you smell that kind of winey,
Yeah.
sherry.
Absolutely, and some wild yeast in here,
Yeah,
no doubt
yeah.
about it. We actually have a house wild yeast strain that we refer to as the Fester.
Oh, very
and
nice.
that lives exclusively in this room, in our lab as well, and that's it. And we really try to keep that cordoned off from the rest of the brewery, so
Yeah.
we keep these barrels separated, let all that fun stuff grow in them, and then release beers like our Freak and our Sour Golden Raspberry that'll come out later
Very
this
cool.
year.
I mean, it seems like the sour is going to be a pretty big part of your big bottle series. Like that seems like a sort of flagship, not in a volume sense, but certainly awareness.
Yeah, certainly, and we've gotten some great feedback. I mean, winning a gold medal at the Great American Beer Festival in a sour category, with nearly 100 other entries, that was pretty powerful stuff for us, and really made us believe that we could do these projects and be really successful with them. So
Right.
we've embraced it, and now we have a room full of beautiful wooden barrels to use.
No, that's wonderful. And I mean, this has been great. I think we're actually going to end up in here later anyway, probably with straws.
Hopefully, we can certainly pull some nails out of barrels and do some direct sampling. There's
Oh.
not much more fun than that.
No, that's pretty amazing. But thank you so much for letting us take a trip through Odell. I mean, the brewery is amazing. You've been a great host.
Yeah. Well, thanks for coming out and visiting us. We really appreciate it, and we love sharing our story with the rest of the world.
Yeah.
So it's a great time to be in the craft brewing industry.
Oh, awesome. Hey folks, I'm Greg from the Beer Diaries. I am here in lovely Fort Collins, Colorado at the Odell Brewing Company here with Brett Cordell. He is the pilot brewer. He's also the master of aging and sours and all things barrel here at Odell. We are in the barrel room, and so it's a really cool place to shoot. It's got a lovely sort of odor to it that lets you know there's stuff going on behind us. And we're going to try some beers and discuss the company. So thanks for letting us be here. It's a real honor.
Absolutely. Thanks for coming in.
So with you yourself, I mean, what did you start as? I mean, were you homebrewing and stuff before you started, or?
Actually, wasn't homebrewing too much. I was just drinking a lot of beer, and I loved the good beer.
Yeah, and you're like, hey, I like this beer.
There was a job opening for delivery sales around town in Fort Collins.
Okay.
We
So
deliver.
are you from here? Are you from
I grew up in Fort Collins. Yep.
Oh.
Yep. Yeah, definitely very familiar with the craft beer scene here.
Yeah, yeah.
And loved it, and maybe sipped a few pints in high school here and there. But
We don't judge here on the Beer Diaries.
yeah.
We let bygones be bygones,
Right.
and folks do their own thing.
But yeah, so getting hired on
Yeah.
when I was 21, just of legal age, and delivering kegs around town. And
it wasn't just because there's free beer here.
No.
I'm just
A little bit, but
That's a
no, not
factor.
always. No.
But yeah, no. But you got into beer and you got real passionate about it.
Got
sounds
into
like.
beer, yeah, for sure. I mean, you get to see the real deal when you get into the brewery. It's one thing to go to a bar or have a beer on tap somewhere at a
Yeah.
party and drink it. It tastes good. And then it's another thing to work for a company, see what it takes to make a good beer, and see the whole industry and see the whole craft behind it.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's when I really fell in love.
How did you get into the barrel aging and the sour stuff? What was that? Was that just something as you'd been doing the pilot stuff? You thought, hey, someone needs to sort of take care of all this stuff?
We were just getting to the point where it needed to be managed by somebody. It was, it began in probably 2007, 2006. We started playing around with a couple oak barrels we got in, and threw some different beers in there and really liked them. And then that's probably the beginning of when oak aged beer started really blowing up a little bit.
Yeah.
So
How did you find it different? Like with brewing versus managing kind of aging. Like brewing, it's an active process. You sort of run it for a certain period of time. You put it into a fermenter, and you know it's going to be done at this point. Barrel aging is like a magic art. Again, the people we've met, it's really funny talking to them. They're all like, we don't know when it's going to be done. We think we know. We don't even know exactly what it's going to turn out like. What was that like to deal with?
just gotta have patience.
Yeah, sit back. And...
It's pretty much the same thing. I mean, it's fine because you're creating something that's gonna be awesome.
Yeah.
Eventually down the road, but you gotta be, you just gotta be able to sit and wait for it. Some of them take longer than others.
Yeah.
It's a lot of blending and patience.
Yeah, how do you when you approach blending? How does that work? Because I mean, like for folks on the watching, I mean, typically it's very rare a sour beer. I mean, some will come just out of one barrel, but often it's actually an active blending between different ages of beers and different, sort of different. Often the same variety, but different kind of even strains of yeast and bacteria and stuff. Like how do you know what the end? Do you imagine what the end product's going to look like, and then you kind of blend in that direction, or how do you even approach it?
Yeah, I mean, we know what our yeast strains and the lactobacillus that we use that's going to sour the beer is going to produce. We know those flavors, and we'll pull down. We've got for each batch of sour beer that we have in here, probably at least 100 beer barrels.
Yeah.
Each one of these barrels here is about 2.5 beer barrels, 31 gallons per barrel.
Got it.
It's a matter of just making those blends, taking a little bit from each barrel, tasting them together. We'll make a hypothetical blend of what a 100-barrel batch would be if we were to take each, equal amount from each barrel, put it in a glass, and swirl it around, taste that, and say, okay, we're missing something here. We really like the sourness out of this barrel. This one didn't have so much, so let's add a little bit more of this one to make the whole.
So you
concoction
almost kind of
more
like get a picture, and then you kind of work towards it over time. And one thing that's interesting too about Odell is it's still very much a family affair. I mean, Doug Odell is the brewmaster and sort of founder. His wife is the CEO, and his sister is also involved. Is that?
Sister is the HR manager, co-owner as well.
Right. So they're still sound very involved in the company still.
Yep, they're still around here every day. You'll see him. Doug, not so much. He's kind of living the dream, traveling quite a bit now. But
yeah, otherwise, we may have talked to him, but he's off out of the country somewhere.
Yeah.
Probably talking about beer in another continent.
Probably.
which is an admirable thing to aspire to.
Yeah.
But I mean, and it's interesting. Probably you guys probably run into each other a lot in the pilot system because it sounds like he's still pretty involved in figuring out stuff and figuring out recipes and that. Like what's that like with? I mean, if he comes, hey, let's do a pilot brew. Are you like, okay, let's
I say
go.
yes.
Yeah.
Doug's awesome. He's always got some crazy ideas. He's always staying with the innovation of creating something new and exciting. That I think he's, with him being out traveling a lot these days, he's seeing a lot of what people are looking for.
Yeah, you get
in
a
the
sense
outside
of it,
markets. So he brings that back to the brewery, and we're able to try some new things on the pilot system and kind of get ahead of the game, so to speak, as far as what people are enthusiastic about.
I mean, it's interesting coming to the tap room. It's my second time here in about 3 weeks. The pilot system, there's 5 or 6. They're all different.
Yeah.
So how many beers a year do you brew on the pilot system? Like
a year? Last year, actually, in 2012, we brewed right around 90 beers on the pilot system.
That is
90.
Amazing.
Which was kind of funny because it was 90 shillings, so no coincidence there. But
hey, there you go. How do some of those turn into more permanent beers? Like what's the process for working through the pilot system and then finally going, this one, I mean, when it gets out in front and folks are buying it and loving it, does it have a chance of making it into a seasonal, or how does it kind of get past that gate?
No, it definitely has a chance. I mean, that's how it happens. It can either happen one way where we have a team of us at the brewery here, a few marketing folks, our owner, Wynne, CEO, Wynne, and Doug Odell come in.
Yeah.
Team of about 8 of us will get together. It's called the product development team. And we'll just talk about products that we want to kind of attack here in the future and develop on the pilot system, which kind of direction we want to go to create new products. And a lot of times we'll get an idea from that, and then we'll start developing a recipe on the pilot system.
Right.
Other times we could do a one-off beer with an employee or someone else, outside of the brewery, a home brewer winner or something like that.
Yeah.
And people love that beer, and they go crazy about it. And then it gets brought up to product development, like, hey.
So it kind of comes in the other way. It kind of comes in. This one's been real popular.
Circle. But everything usually goes through the pilot system either way. That's where we develop every recipe.
So where did the Lugene come from? We'll tell the Lugene story. I'm drinking the Lugene. Lugene is a chocolate milk stout.
Yeah. It's
really tasty.
Full malty beer, a little bit of milk character, and lots of chocolate involved.
Yeah.
It came from we wanted to make a big stout for the winter season, basically.
So it's a winter seasonal.
That's a winter seasonal, available in a 4-pack. It's available from January to April. It just came from an idea in product development. We wanted to go with a chocolate milk stout. Sounded like a great idea. Sounded like a delicious style of beer. That
can't go wrong.
You say that word and people want to have some.
Yeah.
So the name Lugene came from our spent grain farmer who takes our spent grain away from the brewery every day.
So like every day, like he has a truck
every day.
here.
He's got a couple trucks sitting out there, and actually, if you were to look at the label, I don't think we have one here, but it's got a picture of his little blue dump truck that he fills up with grain. We dump it in there, and he drives it away every day.
Yeah. So he's on a farm just outside town somewhere.
Yep, just north of town, probably about 10-15 minutes. He's got a dairy.
Nice. I've heard he comes in here and he'll pour himself beers and stuff like that. He'll sort of stroll in, just kind of pour himself a beer, and people are like, "Who's that guy?" It's Lugene.
I actually haven't seen him pour his own beer, but.
So you've been at Odell for an awfully long time. What's this new expansion mean? I mean, you guys are just about to undergo a pretty substantial expansion. Are you able to talk a little bit about that, and what do you think it'll do for the future?
It's going to enable us to continue to create great beer at a great quality, and further our distribution, basically. I mean,
Yeah.
you know, that's going to be the number one quality or number one objective for us is to make sure whatever we do, we're still creating awesome beer. But we're just maxed out on the current system we have. We can't make it any more than we can right now.
And current's 50 barrel?
50 barrel system, yeah.
And then you're moving to, is it moving
Moving to 100 to 120 barrel system, depending on the size of the brew, but
Yeah.
basically double in the size of a brew house.
And it's also, I mean, there's a fairly substantial construction project going on here too. Like, I mean, there's a wall being built outside, and someone
yeah.
said that you guys are gonna knock out one of the walls and expand the brew house space, and probably more fermentation coming in too. Or
Oh, yeah, we got 4 new 400 barrel fermenters in,
wow.
moving up from 200 barrel fermenters, which we had recently in our
Yeah.
about 3-4 years ago. We had another expansion. Just keep expanding.
Yeah, you guys have been expanded many times over the last 20 plus years, right?
Yeah,
Like,
yeah, quite a bit.
there's a lot of, I mean, I think we talked earlier about tasting panels and things, just making sure that quality is there. Is there anything special that you guys do that maybe other folks don't do, or just you guys do particularly well to ensure the quality level?
We have a taste panel every day,
Yeah.
3 o'clock p.m. We taste our beers from fermenters before it's been centrifuged, which is basically centrifuging yeast and solids out of our beer before it's packaged to
Yeah.
clear it up. And then we'll taste it after it's been centrifuged, after it's been bottled, after it's been kegged. We'll taste beers that have been in a bottle for a few weeks just to see how our beer even holds up in the bottle.
Right. So kind of they can get a sense of what the shelf life really is in
Yeah,
practice.
exactly.
I know one thing, like walking in here, like if we walk through the doors here, it's pretty cool because you come into the cold room, which is just beyond this, and it is just like hop heaven in there, man.
Oh, yeah.
Like you walk in and you're just like, and you get like, I mean, it's funny because you look at, I can't help but read all the boxes, and you're seeing like, Chinook and Pearl and, just all kinds of crazy stuff like the whole way through. I mean,
Yeah.
you guys use a lot of hops. Is it
We
fair
do
to
use
say
a
that
lot
you're
of
a pro hop brewery?
I would definitely say that. Yeah, we're a hop forward brewery.
Hop forward brewery.
For sure. I mean, we have one thing that makes us unique is our hop back in our brew house, which is basically a last step in the brewing process before the hop wort goes into the fermenter, where we add whole leaf hops to a vessel that is screened in, basically like a big tea bag.
Yeah, and you just kind of run the water through.
And we're running hot wort through that, and it's extracting all those fresh hop
Yeah.
aromas from those whole flower leaf hops.
Do you cool it right after that? Like, is that where the heat
Yep.
extractor sits right after that? And
Yep,
that
yep.
So it fills it with the awesome hop sauce, is what I'll
Hop
call
sauce.
it. Hop
I like
sauce.
It. Yeah.
It's trademarked.
I like it.
The hop sauce.
Yeah.
And then you cool it and then you throw it in the fermenter. Do you guys do a lot of dry hopping as well? Or?
We do, yeah. Most beers that are hop backed are also going to be dry hopped as well.
Yeah.
A lot of our hop forward styles, which are the St. Lupulin, our IPA, our Mercenary,
Yeah.
double IPA.
So one question I had for you guys, and it's interesting because you guys have been around a long time. I mean, like 89 to now. What's it like being part of the brewing community here, both in Fort Collins but also in Colorado?
It's a blast. I think people here in Fort Collins have taken hold of the craft beer movement like no other. I mean,
It's probably
people like to call Fort Collins and the Front Range of Colorado the
Yeah.
Napa Valley of beer, basically.
And how about interfacing with some of the other brewers? Do you guys share stuff if you need, if someone runs out of some kind of hops? You guys,
Yeah, definitely.
Like from someone make the call and goes, hey, like, can we do a little trade?
Definitely, because every brewer knows it's crazy, and the planning behind getting the malt here, the hops you need
Yeah.
for a specific brew can be kind of tough sometimes, and everybody has sympathy for each other when times like those arise. And yeah, I got a box of those hops for you. Come on over. You know? And
That's very cool.
yeah, we're all here to help each other out. We're all here for the main objective, and that's just growing craft beer industry.
Yeah,
So.
yeah. Are there any particular beers from other folks you really like anything that you like that other folks are here locally are making in town or just across the state? Like anything that, from a beer drinker's perspective, that you just dig that isn't from Odell?
Honestly, my favorite other brewery outside of Odell is Great Divide down in Denver. I love their stuff. I think they do great beers.
Yeah, they make some great.
They have the
delicious-
same type of quality standards as us, I feel, and they're always coming out with some really good barrel-aged beers.
Yeah, yeah.
But I mean, everybody here locally does some really good stuff too. Coopersmith's downtown, Equinox Brewing downtown, great locations for some dinner and some and beer afterwards, or a beer during,
Before
or beer
or
all the whole
after.
time.
Yeah.
Funk Works down the road, they do all saisons,
Yeah,
which is
yeah.
great. And
They make some really great beers there too.
yeah, they do awesome stuff. New Belgium, of course, has done lots of fun stuff. Terrace Creek. There's a lot, and I could keep going, but
Yeah, no,
Everybody here is
there's so many here.
they really are.
what I think we need to do now, since we're talking about beer, is start sampling some more of your beers. And we've been, I've been drinking, I said, the Lugene, which we talked about earlier. You've had your Ground Control coffee, Imperial-ish stout.
Coffee chocolate stout.
Yeah, that's crazy. So let's start on some of these. Where do we start? Like, what would be the first beer that you would do out of this lineup? And that's one thing, again, we like to inform folks on is you got to be thoughtful about what you start with because you don't want to like wreck your palate. And I think an interesting thing about these beers, neither of these are like real hoppy. They're big malty beers, and you can actually go back into something pretty safely with after this.
I agree. Honestly, if we were to start with anything, I'd start with our flagship 90 shilling.
And you said it's a sort of Scottish English. I mean, Scottish ales tend to be like, quite malty, low hops, and they have like these 60, 90, 120 shilling designations to indicate the richness of the beers.
Right.
So this beer, obviously, you can almost anticipate malt with the color of this beer.
Right.
But it's nice, like bit of biscuity nose though. Like it's
Biscuity. I always get a little bit of caramely, crystally. We use some crystal malt in this beer that really gives it that depth.
Still, it's interesting because it's still dry-ish. You know what I mean? Like it's not super dry, but it's not cloying by any stretch. And I think really
that could be from some of the roasted malts that are in there. I mean, we use a little bit of chocolate malt, 90 shilling, just a smidge. A little bit goes a long way to darken up a beer. And some of the other specialty malts, like the crystal malt, we use. Could definitely add a little bit of dryness, perceived dryness.
Yeah.
The hops that we use, the IBUs, you're going to get from those hops. But the malt forward, that's what we're looking for, and to get that nice,
the caramel,
a little bit of a hop aroma there.
Yeah, there's just a little tiny bit. What would be next? What would you say?
I say we reach for the loose leaf.
So you said had you had this one before? You had you had it in development, but you hadn't had the bottle one.
Yeah, we did numerous test batches on our pilot system, but this is the first final brew in a bottle that I've tasted.
And this is your stab at the session. This is the new sort of session, sort of hop.
Our stab. I mean, it was a collaboration. We had numerous different brewers go on the pilot system, and give their shot at it.
Yeah.
We just basically laid out the specifics of what we're looking for with the style of beer. We wanted light IBUs, a nice mouthfeel, light ABV, golden color, and subtle hop aroma.
Do you see it as more of a summery beer, or do you think we do year round?
Absolutely.
Yeah, summery.
Yeah, this will be a summer release. Right now, it's just being released in our Montage variety pack, which is brand new as well.
I can't bear talking about it anymore without seeing it and trying it.
Sorry.
No, that's okay. I mean, it's like the anticipation is killing me.
I know the feeling.
So yeah, you said you actually had a combo pack actually for this beer, which is kind of interesting.
We just released a new variety pack
called Montage
for us called Montage, and this beer is only available in the bottle through that variety pack.
Look, this is such a lovely golden color. I mean, it's a super clear golden
That is nice.
Oh, actually, it's pretty big hops on the nose on this.
And yeah, we used the hop back in this one, but it was not dry hopped. So.
Okay.
And we wanted to make this beer approachable. It's kind of it's one of those gateway beers into craft beer. I think for a lot of people who enjoy the domestics.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people are curious about craft beer that are maybe a little bit intimidated.
What's a safe entry point? This is definitely. I mean, like I said, nice hoppiness on the nose, kind of, that it's sort of I wouldn't guess that. I have trouble guessing hops still. I'm still in training for that, but it doesn't have. It seems like it's a little bit different than the usual arrangement of hops.
We did a lot of different test batches using just a couple different hops, and then we did also a couple using a lot of different hops in one place of the brew, and we really like the complexity that it brought on.
Yeah, no, because I get sort of almost like a grassy, woody, and then some herbal, and you
still get the maltiness.
Yeah, I mean, this is a great. I mean, this is an insane gateway beer, and also, again, hot summer day, lawnmower beer. You couldn't go wrong with this at all.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this summer.
What would you want to do next on this? So we go. I'm thinking.
I would love to go 5-barrel next.
That's what I would think. I'd kind of guess the 5 barrels is the most likely next one. That's a pale ale. Lots of hops in that one.
English style pale ale. Yep. I think the hops.
Are you doing English Fuggle or Coldings or that kind of stuff?
Yeah, we're using first golds. We're using some Goldings.
English style pale ales are usually a little more subtle in the hop character. I mean,
definitely.
American pale ales, but even just pale ales made by American brewers, historically have actually had pretty big hop characters. They're almost like pre-IPA.
They're almost an IPA, yeah.
Yeah. Whereas these tend to be kind of more subtle, and if you really think about the flavors, you get some really cool. Usually you should anticipate earthy, spicy, floral kind of stuff.
Yeah, so we're getting into the hoppier beers now as we progress.
No, that's really nice, earthy, spicy. Yeah, that's actually really lovely. It's interesting because I think I always find it funny when you look at the BJCP stuff, and I think if I remember correctly, or maybe it was the Randy Mosher book, like the recommendation for if you want to try an English style pale ale, this is one of the beers to try.
Nice.
You know, and you're kind of like, well, if they're using an American reference for a pale ale, but this is.
We are traditionally an English style brewery, so
yeah,
that
no,
makes sense.
really, no, this is a great English style pale.
Yeah, the floral characteristics of this beer are just amazing. I love it.
Yeah,
I love the balance of fiber. It's got a nice malt character.
Yeah,
It's not too big ABV, but
just enough malt. You know, like again, it's very telltale when, I mean, back to your point about balance. Like these can be, you know, maybe a little maltier, but this is the right amount of maltiness because it really supports that hop character really well.
we've had numerous taste panel comments of Fruit Loops in the aroma. Which,
Yeah, that's funny, eh? Like,
which is what I'm always looking for now, because that's usually the freshest IPA, you know, right out of the
Fruit Loops?
bright tank is some Fruit Loops.
Could you add Fruit Loops though? Is the question.
I guess you could. It is cereal.
But there's probably some other chemicals in there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't get any Fruit Loops. I definitely get the floral and the herbal. Now we start getting to hoppier.
Yes. We're gonna reach for some more hoppier beers here.
You thinking
I'm thinking we go lupulin.
Lupulin?
We'll IPA and we'll finish with the mercenary.
And the lupulin, is that a seasonal or what is the?
That's a summer seasonal. Yep. That's an extra pale ale, which is huge on the post-boil hops, giving it a huge hop aroma.
So an extra pale. I mean, it's like, okay, there's an American pale. What's an extra pale?
American pale to me implies what St. Lupulin is, which is a very aromatic pale ale.
Okay.
Lots of hops, middle of the road ABV, maybe around 6% ABV.
Okay.
A little bit higher than an American pale or English pale traditionally. And just a lot of hop flavor, a lot of hop aroma,
Oh, yeah,
but
this
nothing
is-
too bitter.
Yeah, it's big. I mean, it's big hoppiness.
But really, it's kind of one of those gray areas for whatever breweries want to call their
Yeah.
extra pale ale.
And you spin it to aerate it.
Yeah, it's going to release all
Like
the
the-
aromas out of
It's
there.
like the wine guys. I used to do that in the wine, but I quit the wine stuff now. Actually, I haven't told you.
Yeah,
Yeah, no, very, very, very fragrant.
almost perfumey in a good way.
Yeah, and then again, mild bitterness. Like this one, I'd say maybe, I'm guessing 40s for the IBU on this. You think?
Pretty low, yeah.
And it's interesting having that kind of very sort of perfumey, floral, citrusy hop character, and just you don't get the bitterness, which is wonderful. Because if you
Right.
don't feel like the bitter beer that day, this is a great choice. So for this is a summer beer for you guys.
Yep, it's just summer beer. Comes out from May through about mid-August, late August.
Yeah.
Then we roll into our winter seasonal.
So moving to a beer that is getting more hoppy. I mean, your IPA is almost nothing short of spectacular. Like, I mean, I'm just saying.
Well, thank you.
Well, no, it's a really, really, really great IPA.
We love it too.
Did you notice a change when you started centrifuging these? Like, when this one centrifuged, was it like a different beer than, maybe not totally different, but was there brightness
Not
to
completely
it?
different, but definitely bigger hop aroma. You know, those hop particles aren't being forced out of solution so much with a filter
Yeah.
pad. It just seems to leave a residual resin that the filter wouldn't leave after the beer went
Well, that's
through
one
it.
that actually really strikes me with this beer. I mean, obviously great. Again, the sort of the citrus, the lemon, pine on the nose, and then there's an interesting resinous quality to it that it's not bad in any way. It's sort of you hit this resin and then it sort of like turns into citrus and just sits on your tongue, and,
Right.
and the malt just kind of like rolls over it, and it's just like, man, like this is just such a drinkable IPA, and it's not. This one is not insanely bitter either. I mean, this is a mildly bitter but super delicious.
I think there's a lot of different IPAs out there. A lot of the SoCal IPAs that come are really bitter forward.
Yeah.
Bitter bombs. They like the hops.
The
up
hop
front.
bombs
they like,
as well.
They like the IBUs as much as they can get in there. And we weren't going for that when we made this beer. We wanted to make sure it's still balanced with some nice hop aroma.
Well, I think that the way you guys have woven the resinousness, but because sometimes I wouldn't say it by any stretch it's an off flavor because it's expected in hops. Hops have a very resinous quality, but the way it fits into this beer and into the taste profile particularly is it's really remarkable because it gives a body that is not you don't find a lot of other. Certainly not IPAs. Occasionally you'll find this sort of similar kind of character to like an imperial or a double because they've kind of it's got so many hops in there, but then it gets killed by the bitterness. Like this doesn't get too bitter, and the resinousness is just like delightful. The last one we have is your double IPA. So what's different there? Like, what do you guys try? You had a great IPA. You said, okay, let's do a double. What was the goal with the double in terms of, how did you want it to be different?
Same way as all our other beers. We wanted to still be balanced.
But bigger?
Bigger, yeah. More alcohol, but bigger. Still try to mask that higher ABV of a double IPA with the right amount of, hop balance that needs to be there, I think, that we felt. So it was a challenge, but we're really stoked about Mercenary.
Yeah, a lot of resin on this one too. I mean,
A lot of
pine
resin.
and
I get a lot of tropical fruit from Mercenary. I get
yeah, a little bit of mango and stuff. Like,
mango, yep.
yeah, you get the mango kind of late. It's really interesting.
Mango and guava.
Big hop flavor for sure. But not, again, it's weird because you get like this burst of bitterness initially, and then it kind of it mellows. Like when the malt kind of catches it, and just like really lays it down nicely. Like really, really good. So let's go through the names of the beers really quick. I mean, obviously the 90 shilling is a reference to the sort of the Scottish ale sort of like gradation of heaviness.
Caliber.
Strength caliber.
Yeah.
So some of the others are kind of interesting. Like, I mean, the 5-barrel pale. Do you have any idea where that came from?
5-barrel pale ale came from our 5-barrel pilot system.
There you go.
It means we developed so many recipes on our 5-barrel system. That was one of the first ones that we really dialed in on the 5-barrel system. I mean, a lot of time, years ago, we always had the 5-barrel pilot system sitting there.
Yeah.
We'd brew on it and do some different one-off things and mess around, do some different batches. But that was one of the first beers that we really concentrated on the recipe and getting it dialed in.
And so you felt that it was
system.
good to reference the 5-barrel system.
So we wanted to talk about our 5-barrel.
So St. Lupulin, I'm thinking Humulus lupulus is the name for hops. Is there a St. Lupulin, or is that
It's a lupulin gland in a hop, and that's where you're going to get all your goodness from.
Right, and so there, you've anointed
So
a saint.
we took the lupulin gland and added saint to it, and blessed the St. Lupulin for giving us those hop aromas that we get out of those hops.
A lot of hops on that one.
Yeah.
The loose leaf, brand new. Like I almost think loose leaf tea, which I'm thinking isn't the right reference for it. What's the reference for loose leaf?
Loose leaf was a cool one. It was a fun one for us. We wanted to make something that was fun for the folks that wanted to have a couple beers and be able to do other things.
Yeah. Cope. Be able to cope.
Right. But no, loose leaf really want to reference to the fact that we use a lot of loose leaf, whole leaf hops. Kind of showcase the fact that
I see. Okay.
That's something that we do on a daily basis when all of our beers.
Yeah.
We use the whole leaf hops on this beer and the hop back, and also just kind of it's a little bit to the side of all of our other core brands as far as ABV. It's sitting there, you're loose, you're hanging out. It's a looser feeling type of style of beer. You can have a couple of, and it's a light, easygoing beer.
Cool, and we're drinking the Mercenary.
Mercenary, exactly.
And I'm thinking it's a hop oil reference.
Exactly.
All right.
That's where it came from. It played into the Mercene oil that cup produces from the lupulin gland.
Right. So
And
that is where this comes from.
That's where Mercenary. That's why it's spelled the way it is.
And who's that riding on it? That's like some kind of crazy sidecar mobile.
I don't know who he is, man. Like he's rocking.
Yeah, he's like killing
God bless him. Bag full of hops.
Is that what he's got? He's on his motorcycle with a bag of hops.
Yep.
So one question I had is, we're sitting here in a barrel room. There's a bunch of beer here. What does it take to actually try something from a barrel? What's involved in that?
Pair of pliers.
Pair of pliers. Mm-hmm. So you've got Freak kind of cooking away here, doing this magic.
Yep, we put Freak in here. We'll let it sit for about 9 to 12 months.
So if I was to sort of reach magically and get a pair of pliers,
whoa,
using the power of television,
yes.
what would happen next?
Then I'd have to stand up and pour some Freak out of that barrel right there.
We could probably do that. That does shoot right out, doesn't it?
It sure does.
And of course, this isn't carbonated, correct?
No.
This is like in its natural state.
Yep, this is aging with all the souring agents that we want to be in the barrel.
It's got a lovely, lovely, lovely color, doesn't it?
It really does.
Oh, I can smell it now too. So this is really, is this your pride and joy here? Like, would it be fair to say?
Absolutely. I love Freak. Freak's an amazing beer.
Well, what's in it? Like it's kind of a unique. It's a Creek with other stuff though. So Creek is typically cherry, but Freak has
basically came from it's a lambic, right?
Yeah.
To begin with, and we let that ferment out, and we add cherries to it, and we let those ferment out, and then we'll barrel age that whole concoction.
there's a richness that comes off the nose, like this like rich, like cherry.
Still
like,
get some vanilla.
Yeah.
And the barrel's going to put off that vanilla character.
Like I get this. It sort of fills my nostrils, and wow, it's like the dark cherry is just sort of dominating.
And this has no raspberries in it. You know, the freak name comes from the fact that it's a.
So you throw raspberries later? Is that?
We'll throw raspberries in later down the road.
How far down is it? Is there any fermentation that comes from the raspberry sugars that get in there?
Slightly, yeah, a little bit.
A little bit.
But I think mostly we're just imparting those nice raspberry bitterness characters from the raspberries put off.
So one thing is you've seen me do many times before, especially if you're a subscriber, so please subscribe, is I declare my favorite. And I mean, it's kind of obvious. I love the Odell IPA. It is a tremendous beer. I mean, I'm going to automatically disqualify Freak because it's like, you just, the experience of getting out of a barrel can't be beat. But I mean, the Odell IPA is a just superb, tremendous, delicious, drinkable IPA. That's about it. I mean, we've hit the highlights. We obviously don't have a bottle of the Freak because it's coming out of a barrel, but I mean, this has been an amazing experience. It's always fun to kind of pull stuff out of a barrel and try it because it's not something you normally get to do. It's a bit of a rare opportunity, especially one that's, again, a very, very highly regarded, award-winning beer like this. It's like pretty awesome. So, I mean, this is it. Like, I mean, usually we finish with a bunch of salutations.
All right.
So cheers.
Cheers, Greg.
Na zdrowie.
Prost.
Slancha.
Sure.
Sure. Cheers, man.
Cheers.